Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while. I've had my baby and he is so freaking cute. He's such a little angel baby. I can't wait to share more about him and like how our experience has been these first few weeks. But I wanted to sit down today and talk about our birth story of how he came into this world, because it is truly nothing short of just incredible. The craziest way to come into this world. I really want to share it in as much detail as I can, and that's also why I want to film this now, because it's still relatively fresh in my memory. I'm currently 3.5 weeks postpartum, so baby boy is 3.5 weeks old. Yeah, I personally found watching these kinds of birth stories really helpful in my own preparation for labor and birth, although I never came across a story like this before, but that's what these are for. So let's dive into this. So I went into spontaneous labor at 38 weeks and 4 days. It was actually the night of the day that I posted my hospital bag video, and I went into labor that night as I posted that video. And leading up to that night, I had experienced some slight Braxton Hicks, some slight like mini contractions, probably like 1 or 2 where I felt like they were more intense, but I'd heard from having a second baby that those are much more common towards, you know, in your 3rd trimester, like it's very normal. So I had definitely had like some light Braxton Hicks, but nothing to be like alarmed about. And a few days before I went into labor, I did notice that I had a lot of lower back pain, and the day, like that Wednesday, so that day I had actually had this really like tight feeling around my belly, and especially where my belly button was. It felt like the baby was like really pushing out on my belly button and also really pushing down on my pelvis, because I had some lower back pain and a lot of pressure in my lower pelvis as well. But I really didn't think that much of it. I just thought, you know, like labor is getting close, like eventually in the next couple of weeks I'll have the baby, but I obviously had no idea that it was going to happen so soon. But I did also feel this like readiness in my body. I just felt really pregnant. I know I wasn't like humongous, but still like navigating life with like a huge belly and having a toddler who wants to be picked up. I really felt like the physical demands on my body, and I just felt like I was really getting ready to give birth soon. Okay, so Wednesday night I go to bed like every other night. I wake up probably around like 2 times to pee at night, because obviously like super pregnant. I got up to pee at around 2:45, and I just felt like I really had to pee. Like it was like almost like I was gonna pee myself. So I went quickly to the bathroom. I get back into bed, but I still have this kind of like soreness from that feeling of needing to pee, which is weird because I had just peed, so it normally goes away, but this time it didn't go away. And then I started to feel the urge to go number 2, like I had to like go, which is very odd because I never go to the bathroom like in the middle of the night. But I thought maybe I had eaten something, I don't know, that was just like not agreeing with my stomach, or maybe like the baby had like a growth spurt and just like needed more space. So I get up again, go to the bathroom, and I'm sitting there for a while and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why do I have to go to the bathroom like so bad right now? It just kept like coming and coming. I know the details, guys, there's going to be a lot of details. Now looking back, of course, that was the baby descending and putting so much pressure on the back and on my colon, physically like excreting that matter inside so that it could make space to, you know, come down. I also had a lot of air and like, you know, mucousy discharge as well. And then I started to feel some really light contractions, and I thought, okay, maybe this is like the night before the night that I'm gonna go into labor, because with my first baby, with Nalia, my daughter, labor sort of began like the night before I had her, and then by the morning time the contractions had gone away and I just went about my day like completely normal. And then the second night I had the same thing, and then I actually went into labor like the second night. And also, mind you, it took almost 16 or 18 hours of labor until she was born. So again, I didn't think much of it. I just thought like maybe this is my body really preparing, but I had no idea about what was about to happen. So this was at around 3:30, and I think I sat on the toilet for a good like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. Also, at some point during this time period, I felt like I had peed, but I hadn't peed. I remember feeling like water coming down, but I don't remember the sensation of peeing. Looking back, that was probably my water breaking. And with my first baby, they actually had to break my water manually by themselves when I was 10 centimeters dilated because it still hadn't broken. So I also was not, like, I had never experienced my waters like breaking by themselves, and things really intensified like very quickly after that point. But I was still so in denial, like I couldn't believe what was happening. Anyway, I get up out of the bathroom, I come into the living room, I call my mom. Actually, first I texted my sister-in-law. Let me pull up the message. She was actually staying here at a hotel just across the street. So I texted her at 5:17 a.m. I said, good morning. I wrote, I've been awake since about 3:30 with contractions. I'm not sure if this is the real deal or just my body preparing, but I just wanted to let you know. I haven't woken Mo up yet. We will see how the morning goes. It might all clear up and be nothing, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. That was at 5:17 a.m. And the reason I texted her was obviously because we have Nalia, our daughter. She just turned 3, and we would have needed help with her if I was actually going into labor. But again, I was like, I don't know, it might just be nothing. It might all just clear up and go away. But I just texted her anyway. Right after that, at 5:22 a.m., I called my mom and I said, Mom, I don't know what's happening, but I've been having these contractions. By the way, I had also started to time them on an app, and they were coming so quick. I literally could not even keep up with recording them on the app, like they were that quick. But it was also like middle of the night. I was 38 weeks, 4 days, like really was not expecting to go into labor. I spoke to my mom. I told her that I'm having contractions, and I had also, by the way, I had a little bit of blood in my underwear. Thought, okay, this is like a bloody show. It's called a bloody show when you go into labor. I also never had that with my first, but I told her that I had had some blood and I was having these contractions, and she said, well, why don't you just get ready, go to the hospital, and they can check you, and if it's nothing, you can come back home, and at least you'll have like peace of mind. And I thought, okay, that's a great idea. We'll go to the hospital, we'll see what's going on, and if it's nothing, we'll come back home. But that next day, I had planned on washing my hair. Like, it was at the point of greasiness that I'm sure you guys know when you just know that it's time to wash your hair. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get into the shower. It's now around 5:30 a.m. I'm gonna take a shower, wash my hair, dry my hair, and then I'll wake up Mo and we'll head to the hospital. I get into the shower and the contractions are just coming, like so intense. I think I managed to shampoo my hair like somewhat, and I think that was about it. I rinsed my hair. My daughter came into the bathroom. She was like, where are you, Mom? We co-sleep with her, so she noticed that I wasn't in the bed. She came into the shower, you know, saw me washing my hair, asked me like, Mama, what are you doing? Normally we wake up together like in the bed, we'll cuddle and all that. Like, she was like so confused like why I was in the shower. Anyway, and I told her, I think the baby's coming today, because at that point I was like, yeah, no, this is like, I cannot even talk through the contractions. Like, this is the point where I realized that things are happening and they're happening fast, and I need to get myself together. I get out of the shower, I somehow managed to put my hair together, and now it's just like sopping wet in this wet bun, and I noticed blood on the floor, like a lot of blood. At this point, I started getting a little concerned because I felt like it was more than just like a bloody show. So I'm quickly trying to get myself together between these contractions, and also as I'm having the contractions, thank God I did all of that labor prep and that I had those affirmations to refer to and to think about. They were so intense and so strong. They came so quickly one after another, and I just focused on my breath. I went inside. I just really tried to just breathe myself through the contractions. So I go to our bedroom. It is now like 5:55 a.m. So just a few minutes before 6, I wake up Mo. I tell him, I think I am going into labor right now. Like, I've been having really strong contractions. I'm even bleeding a little bit. I'm kind of concerned. But when the contractions were coming, I couldn't speak. Like, I just had to go inside. I had to focus. I had to breathe through them. And I think Mo really saw like, okay, this is like pretty, like this is happening right now. And we were both in shock because with Nalia, it took so long. I mean, so long. It took like, you know, the night before, and then I went into labor the next night, and then I had labored like all throughout the night, and then I gave birth to her at around like 8 p.m. the next day. So it took a while. Okay, so at this point, Mo is like freaking out. He's like, we need to get to the hospital right now. He grabbed my hospital bags. He called my sister-in-law, who was again staying in the hotel next door, and said, can you please come over and help with Nalia? And thankfully she woke up. Like, thankfully she had her phone, like, I don't know how it was on loud. She normally sleeps with her phone like on silent, and she said that she thought that it was her alarm. And I know that day she wanted to sleep in, so I was just like, that was a miracle that she picked up and that she could come and help us. Nalia was like, baby is coming today. Like, she was just like so excited. Mo grabbed like some random pants from me, like some random like sweatpants, but like nothing that I could fit in. Like, they were not like these like loose pants. He's like, put these on, look, we need to go right now. I cannot emphasize enough like how not willing I was to go and to leave our home and to go like into the car. Like, the thought of that was just insane to me. So I was in our bedroom, like half trying to like put pants on. Like, Mo was like trying to put pants on me, and I was like, I need to go sit on the toilet. Like, I just want to sit on the toilet. Like, that's all that I want to do. And also, so interesting with Nalia, I couldn't sit. Like, I could not sit down. Forget about like on the ground, on a toilet, like on a couch, whatever. I couldn't sit. It was so painful. But with this experience, it was completely different. Like, that's where I felt really safe, and that's where I felt like I could relax the most, like with my pelvic floor, is on the toilet. I don't know. But I went from being in my bathroom, I now go to our front bathroom. So like the bathroom that we have closest to the door, like our front door that we would eventually like leave out of. Baby's awake. He's like, Mom, I want to be part of this story. This is the part where I come. Okay, so Mo's trying to get me dressed, trying to get me out of the door in the car, and all I want to do is sit on the toilet. And I'm like, Mo, I cannot go. I need to just work through these contractions. At this point as well, my sister-in-law comes over and helps with Nalia. During those brief moments between contractions, Mo was like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like, you don't want to get in the car, like, what do you want to do? I had no midwife, I had no like doula, I had nothing like that. Nobody that, you know, could like come and support me here at home. Also, for those who know Mo, he is like very stressed easily. Like, he gets very like panicky and worried very quickly. So I was trying to like keep the calm and like trying to like come up with a plan of like what to do. So he's like, what should we do? And I said, call the ambulance. Like, call the ambulance. I'm having this baby. Like, this baby is coming out soon, like soon. Everything just started getting very like fuzzy from here on. I do remember him calling the ambulance. Time is just a different thing when you're in labor. I think people call it like labor land when you're in labor, because like your perception of time is just completely different. Like, you're just like swimming in a different atmosphere or in a different planet at this point. And also, this is when I started to get into transition, I think. Or transition is like, I think when you're 10 centimeters and you're starting to feel like the urge to push. It was coming. The ambulance was still not there. It's probably like 10 past 6 at this point, maybe 12 minutes past 6. And those last few contractions and the beginning stages of like feeling like I need to push were so intense. Like, I was screaming, guys. I've never heard myself scream before, and it was like a deep moan as well, like a moan with a scream. It was animalistic almost. My daughter, I heard her screaming and crying after she heard me, and thankfully my sister-in-law was able to explain to her what was happening and that, you know, the baby was coming. Mommy was having, you know, very big sensations and feelings, but mommy's okay, mommy's not sad. You know, she was like saying those things to her. She obviously told me this afterwards. Like, at that moment I just heard her crying, but then she was fine again. Also, at this point, just before the ambulance got there, I started getting like a little concerned that I was going to faint, because everything was so intense for my body, and I'd also been losing a lot of blood, and I felt like that was not really normal. And so I was really concerned about not fainting and like wanting to keep myself together. So I told Mo, please get me water, please get me the applesauce packs. I had gotten these like squeezy packets, you know, like for kids that you can squeeze up, and I was trying to keep myself hydrated by drinking the water, having the applesauce. I felt like if I hadn't done that, I had a very high chance of fainting, because again, the blood loss, like the extreme sensations, and just how quick everything was going. So a few minutes later, it's probably like 6:20 at this point, the ambulance came with doctors. There were a lot of people. Again, I didn't really like see, but I was told afterwards I was very much in labor land, in another planet. Also at this point, because the contractions were so intense and also like feeling the need to push, oh my goodness, I told Mo, I can feel his head, like I can feel it in my pelvis. It felt like I really spoke to God at this moment. Like if you've ever had an unmedicated, like completely natural birth, you will probably know this feeling of like completely needing to surrender to above, to the universe, to God, whatever you believe in. The sensation is just beyond, and I felt like I just needed support from above. Like I just said, God, just work through me, like come through the top of my head and work yourself all the way down to my toes. Like I need your support right now. And I felt it. So the emergency crew was there. I got down so that they could check like me, how dilated I was, where the head was, and they were like, yeah, this baby is like coming right now. I remember one of the girls in particular, she had blonde hair. She was my like hype person. Like she was the one who really, I felt, got me through like the last few minutes of this labor experience. She was so amazing. She was talking to me. She was telling me, you're doing a great job. This baby's coming. You're going to be fine. Just like positive energy that I really needed. So at this point, I was still in the bathroom and everyone was obviously like very clear that this baby is coming. So Mo said, can you please at least come to the living room? Like, let's have the baby in the living room, not, you know, in the bathroom. And I was like, I don't know if I can walk, like if I can make it. But somehow I was able to like wobble my way through the hallway and then into our living room. Not like this part of the living room, but right there, which is actually where I did so much of my stretching and labor prep, like you guys have seen in my videos. Mo plopped down a couple towels and a little mattress that we actually used for one of our lounge chairs outside, so it was like a little softer for me. Threw down some towels. I came into the room. I just went down on the floor on my hands and knees and pushed. I think I pushed maybe once or twice, and the baby was born. Also, this woman that I was telling you about, she was just in front of me. I think I was holding her hands or her forearms or something, and I was squeezing them so tight. And I even said, I'm sorry that I'm squeezing you so tight, but it's just like, this feeling is overwhelming. It's beyond what I can like describe. She's like, no, it's fine. Like, don't worry, you're doing great. Just keep going. Like, she was just an angel, like truly an angel. I think at this point it was around like 6:30, 6:40. So mind you, like it had been 3 hours. Like the labor had lasted 3 hours. Officially started at 3:30 and now it was like around 6:30. Like so insane. I obviously had felt his head like from being in the bathroom and like walking through the hallway, like feeling the head as I'm walking like to where I had given birth. And then I pushed like the rest, like his shoulders, and I felt his body coming out. And when I felt his body come out, I didn't even know who was gonna catch him. Like I had no idea. I was in another world. But there was obviously like the ambulance crew. Again, I think there was maybe like 12 people here. So insane, but like so grateful that they have this kind of help when you need it, like really emergency last minute help, like truly last minute. So one of the crew caught the baby and I just remember feeling like so much relief, just overwhelming relief, and also like I cannot believe what just happened. I had to then like lay on my back. Somebody put like some pillows behind my back and I could then hold the baby and feel the baby, and I was again just in absolute shock. Like I couldn't fathom, couldn't believe what had just happened. I wanted to do delayed cord clamping. That was part of my birth plan, also with Nalia, to let as much of the blood from the cord and the placenta pass through to the baby before you cut it. It's just super healthy for the baby, but they were very concerned about me because I had been bleeding so much. So they didn't want to wait too long. They gave a pair of scissors to Mo. Mo cut the cord. They had this fabric stretcher on the floor that they wanted me to like roll onto, or they were gonna lift me onto this fabric stretcher to take me to the hospital so that they could examine me, because again, I had lost a lot of blood and it was all very like a shocking and quick experience. So I was able to sort of shimmy my way onto this stretcher. These memories are also hazy and blurry, but I think there were 6 or 8 people who then carried me out on this fabric stretcher from my home, like into the elevator. I remember my feet being like squished in the corner of the elevator, because obviously like I'm a tall person, and like laying this way in an elevator that is not like huge, and I was obviously so exhausted and so tired as well. Of course, had very, very little sleep, and then also like labor is such an intense experience, and it's so demanding of your body and your muscles and everything. So I was just so exhausted laying on that stretcher, just thinking like, what has just happened? So they carried me outside, they put me on a proper stretcher, like on a hard stretcher now, and they put me into the back of the ambulance. And also, I did not have the baby at this point. The baby was with Mo in a separate ambulance. There were 2 ambulances there, and I think another car for the doctors, and they drove so fast to the hospital. I think we were there in maybe like 5 minutes, and I had timed that drive before because I wanted to know like how long I was going to be in the car for during contractions, but they got there so quick. Also in the ambulance, they gave me, pretty sure it was oxytocin, and they wanted to do that to control the bleeding. They said I was bleeding so much and they needed to help like the uterus contract super, super quick and prevent more bleeding from happening. And I was begging them to stop like giving me so much. I think they had put an IV in my hand, because again, it brought on so many contractions. I felt like I was back into giving birth, like back half an hour ago or an hour ago. I just needed a break. And they're like, no, it's really important that we do this. I also remember crying a little bit in the ambulance too, just like, oh my God, what had just happened? Processing that, like not having my baby there, not having any of like my family or Mo. Like I was just in this ambulance by myself, and it was like all just kind of overwhelming. Anyway, we get to the hospital. They get me into a labor and delivery room, although I had already had the baby. Mo came, baby came. I had torn as well, so they gave me stitches. It was like, I think a 3 centimeter tear, something like that. Because I had no epidural or anything like that, they gave me a local anesthesia, like 5 points. It was like 5 needle injections of local anesthesia down there so that they could do the stitches. And oh God, that was so painful, just like getting the anesthesia, feeling the needle going in, and already the area was so sensitive. Actually, before that, I had to deliver the placenta. That didn't happen at home. I had to do that at the hospital. So we did that. I pushed just like I had done with my first, with Nalia. It was just like giving an extra push and the placenta came out, and then I could get my stitches. So crazy, like just thinking about how raw and how natural like this whole birth was. I wanted to experience that like with my whole heart, like that's what I was preparing for. But how it happened, it was even crazier. Like of course no epidural, but like not even water. Like I couldn't even sit in a bath or have like water therapy, no oxygen, none of that. It was just like the most raw experience ever. But I'm so grateful to have experienced it and to know what it really feels like to give birth truly completely unmedicated. Like that was always something that I have thought about, that I had wanted to experience. I think because I had done a lot of prep work leading up to it, a lot of mental prep work. You guys know I did a lot of meditations and really repeated a lot of positive affirmations throughout like the last few weeks of my pregnancy, really getting myself mentally prepped for it. I think that is like the biggest thing that you can do to really prepare yourself if you want to have an unmedicated and natural experience. The fact that he was born here at home in such a loving and special place where we have built like so much of our life living here the last few years, the fact that he was born here at home, it's truly so special. And I would not have had it any other way. I'm so happy that it happened the way that it did and that everything was fine. Everything was also fine with me. He came out and he cried directly and screamed and took his first breath, and so everything was perfect with that. Like, the crew of the ambulance, they were a little bit worried, like, what if his cord is wrapped around his neck, or, you know, what if there are any complications? But I did know that his head had been down for the last few weeks, so everything was fine there. But of course, the whole situation was very risky, but there was nothing else that I could have done at that point, like going to the hospital, getting in the car. That was not an option at all. I'll pop up some of the affirmations that I kept referring to. I had also had this sheet printed out and I just had it here at my desk. Some of the biggest one is just like allow, let go, relax, open, soften, you know, just like talking to myself in a very positive way. That was a huge thing that really got me through. Although in the actual time and when I was in labor, there was no paper around me. Like, it was all just in my head because obviously everything was happening so fast. But let's just say all the labor prep that I did, I think it really worked. The tea, the red raspberry leaf tea, the stretches, the walking, just like the mental prep. I have a whole video dedicated to what I did to prepare for labor, so I will have that linked for you guys down below. But it was definitely something that was on my mind. Like, I felt like I would rather go into labor earlier than later. So it was something that I was, you know, very conscious of, like not wanting to go like too long and having to be induced. So yeah, baby boy came like 2 weeks early, almost 2 weeks early. He came in his very own special way and wanted to bless our home with his presence right from the start. Yeah, just such a cool and incredible experience for the books in my life. But yeah, getting back to being at the hospital, so they gave me my stitches, then they rolled me into another part of the clinic where I had my room and where I could like fully sort of settle in, and I stayed there for like 3 days, and that's where I felt like I could, you know, start processing what had really happened and you know, snuggle with the baby, do lots of skin to skin. We started breastfeeding. My family was also so incredible. They flew in the same day. They had actually been over on the weekend for my birthday, and then they all left on Sunday except for my sister-in-law. But they all came back that Thursday when I had given birth. Yeah, it was just so nice to see them and to have their support, and just to, you know, have so much love and support around me was just amazing. But yeah, I just needed some time as well just to process what had happened. Obviously, he arrived early. I still had a few things that I wanted to do and sort of take like a mini vacation break for those 2 weeks where I could just like focus on really like not doing any like work related things, just really taking care of myself. So the fact that he was so early was such a shock, and then of course how it happened, how it was so fast, just 3 hours, like so crazy. And then the fact that it was at home, and the fact that I had been bleeding so much, and that Mo was like so concerned, and everything was fine at the end, but like everything was just, oh my god, such a crazy experience, but so beautiful. I'm so happy again that it happened that way and that I was able to have, yeah, this kind of experience in my life. And he is just perfect and so sweet. I'm really excited to share more of what it's been like having 2 and having him in our lives. I will do that in an upcoming video. One funny thing, when I was at the clinic getting ready to go back home, I was packing up my stuff, packing my bags, and I realized I didn't even have shoes because they had carried me out on a stretcher. So I had to text Mo and say, please bring me some shoes when you come pick me up, because I don't have any. I would love to know if you've had any like similar kind of experience, or what your labor was like with your first or with your second child. Feel free to share it down below in the comments. I always love to hear from you guys, and I find this topic just so fascinating. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon for some new videos as a mama of 2. I hope you're all having a beautiful day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.